Hi, I'm Sweetie Abochi, bringing you the AM News. Now, this is the first news bulletin on the Joy News channel. Starting with President John Dramani Mahama led Ghanaians in a solemn burial rite to lay former Environment Minister Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Muntala Mohammed and Alhaji Muniru Mohammed Lemuna, former acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, to rest. The event, which started with a janaza at the forecourts of the State House, culminated in a burial service at the military cemetery in Accra. Prayers were said for the departed souls after being lowered to the ground. Here are excerpts of the funeral rites. Now, President Mahama at the event commiserated with the family and thanked them for their patience and support to give the deceased a befitting burial.
Today is not a day for talking. I just want to say thank you for your sympathy. Indeed, the Quran teaches us that whoever attends the funeral of a fellow and stays till the final prayer receives blessings. And so the blessings of Allah is on all of you. I want to thank the two families for their patience. We recognize that in Islam, when a person has died, they are supposed to be interred as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, the state in which the bodies were made it difficult for us to identify positively which was which. And that's why we had to go through the scientific forensic process of identifying. Happily, that process was ended yesterday and we received electronically the forensic results for our two brothers. And that's why we have come to bury ahead. As I speak, the forensic reports for the rest have also arrived. And so in consultation with their families, we would decide how their funeral should be held. But as we said, on the 15th of this month, we'll hold a state funeral for all of them. The families are able to hold separate events to commemorate their loved ones, and the government will be there to assist them.
So the president also explained why he asked the deceased to be buried at the military cemetery.
I want to thank the families too for accepting my decision that they be buried here in the military cemetery. Many of you would have probably had other intentions for their burial, but I do believe that this is a conducive resting place for the two brothers, and the families are free to visit their graves anytime that you want to do so.
Just as President Mahama said, the final results of the DNA test to identify the bodies have been received by Health Minister Kwabena Mensah Addo.
About 3 days ago, we were all here when we were seeing a team to go and do further investigation and examination. Today, we have taken the final batch of the results of the investigation and examination. But the first batch didn't came earlier than today. Yesterday we had the first batch, and today is the final batch. That was the Muslims one, Honorable Kala and Honorable Onir. That was the reason why today we have been able to perform the final barrier.
So it contains samples for
About
the
six.
remaining
Yes,
six.
yeah. The 2 came yesterday.
That means all DNA results for the 8 victims of that helicopter crash have been received. Now let's do some other stories now. And in the Western region, the Regional Security Council has visited the widow of Sergeant Ernest Mensah Addo, one of the military men who died in last Wednesday's helicopter crash in Athalia, Kwanza, reports from Cape Coast.
In the quiet streets of Cape Coast, a convoy arrived, carrying grief, condolences, and the weight of a nation's sorrow. The Western Regional Security Council, led by the Regional Minister Joseph Nelson, came to stand with the family of Sergeant Ernest Mensah Addo, one of the 8 lives lost in the tragic helicopter crash. His widow, married to him only on July 5th this year, now sat draped in black. The pain on her face spoke louder than any words could.
So this morning we set out to come and commiserate with her, share a few words with her, to comfort her and to encourage her that we are in this together. We are grieving. It's difficult for everyone. And to think that these are people with children, wives, mothers. You can't even imagine, how they're able to go through this. And so it's a responsibility of all of us to stand together with them, to support them, to see how they're able to pull through.
A wedding barely a month ago, officiated by the Methodist Bishop of Cape Coast Diocese, Right Reverend Richardson Andem. Today, the same bishop welcomes the delegation, his own voice heavy with emotions.
Isaiah chapter 55, verses 8 and 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. No human mind can comprehend what happens on earth here, but God understands it and understands it better.
Members of the Air Force Wives Organization came along, women who understood the sacrifices of service and the silent fears that come with it.
Because Ubia expected them why
For the widow's family, the visit was a gesture of comfort in an unbearable time.
I want to use the opportunity to thank you all, the minister who stood in for our president, and then all the Navy, the Air Force, every security person who was here. I want to use the opportunity to thank you. I think your visit was very essential, and the family feels comforted. We pray that the Lord will take you back safely.
A young married, cut short, a future rewritten in grief. But here in Cape Coast, the embrace of community and the nation's leaders stood as a reminder that in the shadow of loss, no family grieves alone. From Cape Coast, I am in Athalia, Kwanza, for Joy News.
The Regional Director for Africa at the International Society of Radiographers and Radiological Technicians, Elizabeth Olasunkanmi Bologun, has urged government to sponsor specialization in radiography. She noted that the equipment used in the profession is highly complex and demands well-trained experts to operate. She called on governments to invest in the training of quality, skilled radiographers to strengthen the sector. Abigail Isel Nkrumah again.
International Society of Radiographers and Radiological Technicians ISRT workshop and Ghana Society of Radiographers GSR second triennial conference was founded on the theme Expanding the Scope, Role Extension in Radiography. In his address, the president of GSR, Dennis Hamate Ahia, described the event as an important turning point in the profession.
However, in Africa, we still face systemic challenges, including reconstructive scopes of practice, inadequate policy frameworks, and limited opportunities for specialization. The long-awaited College of Allied Health Sciences, when established, will be our first step into specialization. This conference seeks to challenge these barriers by fostering dialogue on how we can expand our professional horizons while maintaining the highest standards of patient care and safety. In Ghana, we have one radiologist to 400,000 population. One radiologist to 400,000 population. Nigeria, with over 200 million people, has fewer than 300 practicing radiologists. And many sub-Saharan African countries have less than one radiologist per million population.
Elizabeth Olasunkanmi Balogun is the Regional Director for Africa on ISRT. She dared government to sponsor people interested in practicing radiography.
To challenge the status quo, especially our government, to look at sponsoring people to specialize in these areas. I mean, those service areas that they are dead, especially radiographers and radiological services. And it's a promise that they must keep to their people and all that. So I challenge the government to train and encourage and also put in more budget for these people.
A professor of medical imaging and head of the imaging department at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Eric Kwesi-Ofori, urged academics to intensify scholarship support to train more radiographers.
What I think we should be doing is that locally, we need to, those of us in academia needs to develop curriculums and have support, scholarship support, because imagine £12,000 can train about 3 or 4 or 5, sponsor them locally. So we need to do that kind of, intensify that kind of training. Facilities, equipment is a problem, sponsorship is a problem. Then when you train them and they are working also, the facilities they are working becomes a problem. So when they get good opportunities outside there.
Abigail Isel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
In other stories, the president of the Society of Private Medical and Dental Practitioners, Dr. Andre Kwashikuma, has urged that artificial intelligence will be by no means a substitute for human resource in the healthcare sector. Speaking at the Stambik Annual General Meeting of the Society, held under a theme, Questioning AI's Role in Healthcare Delivery, Dr. Kuma acknowledged that although AI has enhanced efficiency in the sector, human expertise remains indispensable, particularly for patients requiring physical examinations. Again, Abigail Isel Nkrumah.
As artificial intelligence tools continue to be integrated into healthcare, Experts Division progresses, questioning whether they represent groundbreaking support system for healthcare givers or a potential threat to healthcare delivery. At the Stambik Annual General Meeting 2025 of the Society of Private Medical and Dental Practitioners held in Cape Coast on the theme, Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare, Friend or Foe, the president of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Srebwo, shared his thoughts on Ghana's recent tragic experiences.
So we do have a national disaster, and the way it is going now, it is alarming. How many people did COVID kill? Compared to the number of people who have been killed by road accidents, just in the last 2 weeks or so, or less than that. we have over 50 people dying from road traffic accidents. This is just a week. I feel that until all of us begin to prioritize our roads, begin to make sure that when there is a construction of a road, all of us are interested. It is not about 10%, it is not about 20%, it's about the quality of road that is constructed for all of us. So if we don't do that and we continue to do what we are doing, that the road is constructed 3 days, 4 days, potholes have already started developing, yet the person has been paid. Contractor is not held accountable because somebody has taken part of the money. So we really need to look at it and do something about our roads.
On the contribution of artificial intelligence in the medical field, the president of the Society of Private Medical and Dental Practitioners, Dr. Andrew Kwashikuma, indicated that the technology, although efficient, will not replace human resource.
AI will not replace us. You see, because let me tell you that there's something now they call telemedicine, where a doctor can be on a phone and you're on your phone and you consult a doctor and give you medication. Yeah, though that system is there are many patients who still want to see the doctor physically and let the doctor feel them, listen to them, hear their story face to face. So it tells you that you cannot really replace human beings.
That takes us into a business update now with Samuel Kujobrace.
Well, let's do business updates now. The business community has begun making their input into the 2026 budget and economic statement expected to be read in November 2025. According to the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it has received a formal invitation to contribute to the 2026 economic statement. This follows an announcement by the Ministry of Finance asking the general public and business groups to submit their suggestions electronically to them. Speaking to Joy Business, President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Stefan Miezan Abbas, said they have made some significant input so far.
Let me take the opportunity to, first of all, appreciate the government and also the finance minister that on numerous occasions they've tried to engage us, the private sector, except the 1 cedi levy on the petrol that was issued without engagement. But we want to congratulate the finance minister for sticking to his promise to engage the private sector. In that light, what we are trying to put before the finance minister to consider has to do with investment into so no the previous budget statement considered was very much conservative, so they try not to look at growth, but having seen all the stability in the economy, now we want to recommend that the government looks at growth in the next budget. And by growth, what we mean is that they try to do a lot of investment in capital areas so that private sectors can get businesses to do on behalf of the government to increase our growth in the country. So basically, those are the areas that we are proposing to government. We are also looking at ensuring that they put in measures to continuously stabilize the city and even make it much stronger. Interest rate is something that we're also encouraging the government to also look at, especially on the fiscal side. So these are areas that we are recommending to government, more especially capital investment, so that the private sector can take advantage of that. And also we want to also recommend to government to also look at agribusiness, investment in agribusiness as well, because these are areas that is going to also grow our economy very fast. So it is area that we're also doing a lot of recommendation for the government to look at as well.
Well, the Bank of Ghana credit reporting for 2024 has shown a reduction in the issuance of debt checks. Now, a debt check is a check that a bank or financial institution refuses to honor because the account holder does not have enough money to cover the check's value. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
The report showed that in 2024, a total of 45,136 debt checks were submitted by banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions to credit bureaus. This represents a 15.19% decrease from the 2023 figure of 522. The Bank of Ghana explained that the decline is attributable to the regulator's constant sensitization of the public on the negative implications of issuing DAT checks on their ability to secure credit facilities. The central bank said it will continue to raise public awareness and enforce the directive on DAT checks to help boost public confidence in the check system. The report pointed out that in 2024, bank customers who flouted the DAT checks directives were sanctioned accordingly. According to the Bank of Ghana, the notable reduction in DAT checks incidents, increased usage of credit reports by financial institutions and other lenders, and enhanced public awareness of credit reporting systems are testaments to the growing robustness of the sector. The central bank said it remains committed to strengthening the credit information infrastructure enforcement and public education.
And that's all in the business updates. And that's it for the AM News. Up next, sports with Muftar Nabila and Muftar is here. Muftar, good morning to you.